number 12. Question number 12, Stuart Nash.
To the Minister of Police.
Order. Order. I now will give Mr O'Rourke his final warning. If he interjects again through this question time, order. If he interjects again through this question time, I'll ask him to leave the chamber. Stuart Nash, question number 12.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister of Police, does she believe the police have sufficient resources to deliver on the community's expectation around law and order?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, yes. And I always back the police to deliver, unlike that member.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Stuart Nash.
Does she believe that the road safety budget being cut by 8% in real terms since 2010 has anything to do with the increase in deaths on the road? And if not, why not?
Either of those two supplementary questions, the Honourable Judith Collins.
Well, Mr Speaker, clearly it hasn't been cut. In fact, it's gone up 6.7% in the last 3 years. But I'd also say to that member that if he's going to blame the police and the budget for the road toll, what's he going to say about the fact that no one died on the roads last weekend?
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Stuart Nash.
Is the increasing road toll to do with a decrease in road police resources, or does she think it's more to do with declined road maintenance budget?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Neither.
What to do with it? Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Stuart Nash.
What are her views on the police research that shows for every 1 km/h drop in speed, 5 lives are saved?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
I would find that very interesting.
I'll table it.
Supplementary question, Stuart Nash.
In light of her statements last week, could she please clarify exactly how far over the speed limit she believes it's okay to drive?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, it's entirely dependent on the conditions as well as the speed limit. And I'd say to that member, as I've said many times, just sticking to the speed limit is not always safe, as we've seen with people who drive 100 k's around country roads.
Supplementary question, Stuart Nash.
As Minister of Police, are there any other laws that she believes it's okay to break?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, I would say to that member that the unwritten rule about not attacking public servants should be one that he should not breach, as he did just last week when he attacked the District Commander of Police for the Eastern District.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Stuart Nash.
Does she believe the falling resolution rates for burglaries had any connection with the fact that her government has cut the police investigations budget by 15% in real terms since 2010?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
No, Mr Speaker, any more than I think the fact that this government putting 600 extra frontline police on the beat actually was something that was very helpful to the resolution rates.
And that order. Oh, supplementary question, Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister of Police. How can police resourcing in Upper Hutt be adequate when a respected businessman and National Party supporter says parked cars are being vandalised, shoplifting is at levels not experienced before, shops and security guards are being assaulted, burglaries and robberies
Can we bring the question to a conclusion
and police
quickly?
are not responding?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Well, Mr Speaker, if that member would like to provide me with the details, I can assure him that they will be given to police absolutely very quickly, really.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister, why is the police presence shrinking in Dannevirke, as Taurua Mayor Rolly Ellis has reported as saying by the New Zealand Herald?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, the matters of where police put their resources is entirely an operational matter, and they tend to put people where they are needed.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
Mr. Speaker, to the Minister. How can police resourcing be adequate when the President of Local Government New Zealand, Mr Lawrence Yule, and the mayors of 18 councils have joined a backlash against police restructuring, saying ratepayers have been left to foot the bill in the wake of a shrinking frontline resource police resource in their community?
The Honourable
Well,
Judith
Mr
Collins.
Speaker, I'm, like that member, a great supporter of local government. I would also remind him that there's a local government election going on this year and that local government has always worked in partnership with police, that police cannot always be everywhere all the time, and actually local government needs to take some responsibility, and the vast majority of the mayors do.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister. Is the Minister aware that criminologists have long recognised burglary as an entry-level crime that eventually leads to assaults, rape and murder, and it is on that basis that resolution of burglaries is fundamental to serious crime prevention?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, the member is quite correct.
And that concludes... Order. Order. Point of order. Denise Roach.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I seek leave to introduce the Immigration Refugee Quota Amendment Bill in my name and for the bill to be set down for the first reading next Members' Day.
Leave is sought for that course of action. Is there any objection? That brings all answers to conclusion. Would some honourable member care to move that the House take note of miscellaneous business?